Hey guys, welcome to the second episode. Let me say properly. Welcome to the second episode of my channel and the second episode of the friendship series. If you haven't watched the first episode of this channel, and if you haven't watched the first video of this channel, it is here. This is how it looks, and then I'll also link a video. I'll also link it in the description. But yeah, guys, this is the second series and the second video. And on this video, we are continuing on the friendship series that we were speaking about. And I just want to continue to say, yeah, guys, this is part 2, by the way. So the first topic that we're going to talk about on this part 2 is how to navigate friendship struggles. In the first video, we spoke about people pleasing and all that stuff. As I said, you can watch the first video if you haven't already. But this video is basically going to be about how to navigate friendship struggles. And the first topic I just want to touch on is face-to-face communication. The best way to navigate friendship struggles, because as friends we do go through a lot of things, and as people that want to build friendships we do go through a lot of struggles where we feel that our voices aren't being heard. And by the way, guys, don't mind my hair. I know yesterday I was in a beanie. Today I'm out in the open. This is just hairstyle that I just wanted to do because I want to grow my hair. Anyway, not the point. I just wanted to say that wasn't the point. But my point is just being able to understand your friend and being able to see your friend face to face means so much. Because if you're trying to navigate a friendship struggle, you need to have, the first step is basically just to have that face-to-face communication, that face-to-face type of way, because maybe the person is not someone who types your friend may not be someone who responds to your messages as quickly or always busy. So just always make an effort to just to see your friend. Make sure that you see your friend as many times as you can, and to have that communication, to be able to solve whatever struggle you guys are going through. And yeah, just to know that everything is going to be okay as long as you talk about it. And sometimes we meet friends online, we can't see them, maybe they're far from us, we live far from them, or even if in those situations where you can't see a friend, maybe you guys are too far apart, you can't meet each other, FaceTime. It's so important to see someone. Body language, guys. Body language is something that maybe could actually be underestimated, but also an aspect in friendship that could ruin it, because you may say something and then they may take it they may be offended by what you said, but maybe that's not what you meant. Maybe you were using your hands. Whatever the case may be, I really encourage the first topic that we're going to discuss, and that I'm discussing with you guys now on how to navigate friendship, is face-to-face communication. That is so important. And as I've said, you may not see your friend, maybe you guys live countries apart, miles apart, kilometers apart, but making sure that, okay, I don't see her as often, let me FaceTime her, let me see her smile, because that spark, that joy that you have seeing your friend, especially if it's a genuine long-term friend, then that will probably solve a problem that you guys didn't think of. You know what I mean? So it's just so important to ensure that you have that friendship base, and you have that type of my mind just went off now, but you have that type of way of communicating with each other face to face. So yeah, face to face communication is so important. Next topic. The next topic is to how to overlook people's mistakes. People make so many mistakes, and I just want to remind you guys of Proverbs 17 verse 9. I'll put the verse here. It's Proverbs 17 verse 9, and it just touches on overlooking mistakes. And that's our next topic. I just wanted to talk about how to overlook someone's mistakes. And it's so difficult because someone may be doing something to you so hurtful, and you can't even comprehend how you can forgive that person, or you may not be able to even think of a way out. You just don't want to be their friend anymore. But it's so important when someone makes a mistake in a friendship, and I'm not talking big mistakes, we'll discuss that later in the video, but it's so important because we have to start small. We can't just, when someone makes a big mistake, then talk about that. We need to start small. Some people do make big mistakes, some people make small mistakes, but especially And if you sort out a small mistake, it may not escalate to a big mistake. That's why we need to start small and talk about small mistakes. So I feel like in a friendship, when someone makes, or like your friend makes a small mistake, even if it's big, actually big or small, maybe not make them too different. You know, some, maybe for me something may be big, maybe for you it may be small. So let me just say, when someone make a mistake, let me not like put them one and separate. Let me not separate one from the other, because maybe you may see something as a big mistake to you, and then your friend will be like, no, but that's just a small mistake, you know. So let me just generalize it. So how to overlook mistakes. Mistakes can happen to anyone. Mistakes are done by anyone. You may think someone is perfect, but they also make mistakes. So it's so important to just overlook it, because everyone deserves forgiveness, everyone deserves a second chance, and you may not understand what led someone to do that, you know. So it's so important, especially in a friendship, not to judge someone so quickly, and not to have such a barrier and be like, okay, you've done this, now get away from my face, I never want to see you again. Just be open-minded, you know. And I'm not saying prepare for failure, or like not have an open mind. I'm encouraging open-minded friendships. I'm encouraging you as a friend to your other friend, and your friend to you, that you need to have an open mind about whatever conversations you're having, about whatever situations you may be going through. Even you also need to be considerate, you know, and think about it. Okay, this person made this mistake. How can I be considerate and put myself in her shoes? You need to be very vulnerable, very considerate, very just genuinely open-minded, because you cannot be closed-minded and feel like, oh no, but if she did that to me, if she did that to me, that means I must do that to her. That is so childish. That's such a childish mentality, you know. Doing something because someone else also did it to you, even though you know that hurt you, you want to bite that person back. That is not mature at all, you know what I mean. So when someone makes a mistake, don't your first instinct shouldn't be to offend them right back, or your first instinct shouldn't be, okay, they treated me like this, so I should treat them like that. That is so toxic. I feel like when a friend makes a mistake, you discuss it, you know. That's why I said in the previous topic, face-to-face communication is so important. So you discuss what, like, you treated me like this, and I didn't like it. And what I said in the previous topic, you may not see them face to face, but it's still so important to video call them, or to call them and be like, listen, what you say to me, or how you did this to me, I know you may think it's a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake to me. Just be so confident and be so upfront, because sometimes we need to tell people how to treat us. You guys are thinking, oh no, but they should know how to treat me. Babe, they're coming into this life for the first time. You're coming into this life for the first time. Don't immediately off the bat just put so much pressure on someone and be like, oh no, but I've been with you for a long time, you should know how to treat me. Yes, it's true, you have been friends. I'm now making a scenario. You've been friends for 10 years. This person is making mistakes, and then making mistakes in your friendship, and then you ask yourself, no, but we've been friends for 10 years. How can she make that mistake? Babe, you're still changing, they're still changing. So they've been treating you well for 9 years, or your whole friendship, and then on the 10th year they realize that you've had a change. You've changed, and then they're like, okay, maybe I should change, or maybe I should treat them differently now that they're in a new season of their life. So we need to understand our love languages, not only in relationships but also in friendships. What is my friend more into now? What is my friend like? What does she do? What does he do? How can I make him feel better? How can I make her feel better? This is friendship basis. You know what I mean? So it's just being mature and being aware of what someone likes and what someone doesn't like. And if you continue to make mistakes that are going to cost someone else, that's when you should just stop right there. If I make a mistake and I know that person doesn't like it, and I continue to make the same, you see, mistakes and repeated mistakes, now I can separate them. Now I can make them two different topics, because they are two different topics. Mistakes happen. We move on, we talk about it, we discuss it. Mistakes that are going to costly and negative mistakes and repeated mistakes, those are the mistakes that you have to consider yourself those are the repeated mistakes. I need to repeat that. Repeated mistakes are the type of mistakes that need you to look inward and tell yourself that this is not someone that I want to be my friend. This is not someone I want in my circle. Because when someone continues to make repeated mistakes, you should know that they don't deserve to have your phone on their number. They don't deserve to have anything that belongs to you, because it's just straight disrespect. Don't think, oh no, someone has made a mistake many times, I'll keep forgiving them. You're only going to lose yourself. You can't be I'm not saying don't be forgiving, but once it's reached the point of disrespect, don't look back, because then you're only going to lose yourself trying to mend or trying to fix them. They're not going to change if they don't want to change. So you can forgive the small mistakes, and you can forgive those mistakes, and you can discuss them, and then you can get over them. But once it's become repetitive, that's when you should be concerned. That's when you should become concerned. That's when you should become aware of the fact that maybe this person isn't for me. It doesn't matter if it's been years that you guys have been friends. Maybe you've been suffering all those years trying to fix that person while they've made those repeated mistakes. We need to analyze the type of friendships we walk into. We cannot just excuse people because of their repeated mistakes. We can excuse people for their mistakes that they make because we've discussed it with them and they've stopped. It's like an addiction. I'm not against people who are addicted to something. You know, that's your own part that you're taking. I just feel like repeated mistakes are like an addiction in a friendship, and that is very detrimental. That's very toxic. And I feel like you should, as a person who is observing this, should just understand that it's not even about that person anymore. It's about you. You've probably put your friend and you've probably put yourself on the line you've probably put that friend on a pedestal for a long time. But once they start making repeated mistakes, that's when you should just walk away and choose yourself in every aspect, because repeated mistakes are not acceptable. And I just feel like that's what it is. You know, it's just, there are things that you need to overlook. Just to close off this topic, you should overlook things, and there are things that you should just forgive because you want to continue the friendship, or you want to build a friendship with someone, and you've built a connection with your friend, and you just want to continue that connection. That is so right. That's so good. That's so fine. And that's perfect. It just comes to the point where you need to be sometimes selfish. In a previous video, I spoke about being selfish in friendships, and I feel like that's where this word selfish plays in, when it needs to be about you now, and that these mistakes that this person is making repeatedly is not about how they will feel after I leave them, because that's exactly what you need to do. But it's about me and myself and just being selfish and knowing that I've overlooked this too many times. You know, I've forgiven them. This is too much. So forgive your friends, love your friends. Just to close off this topic, I'll go into another topic just now. But yeah, forgive your friends, love your friends, but don't lose yourself in the process. And the next topic I want to go into and just talk about is just taking a break and actually analyzing. And it kind of goes into topics that I've already discussed, but as I say, guys, these topics of friendship are so many. I might do another video, I'm not sure. But just to go into another topic that I may have discussed in the previous video is just to pause before reacting. It's so important to just understand the person's perspective, not to be selfish and be in your own cocoon, in your own mind, and just to think outside the box, you know, not to always have this mentality of this friend knew what they were doing and they still did it. Yes, you can have those mentalities of like, no, but she knew what she was doing and she still did it. That's good, that's fine, that's all good and well. But sometimes you just need to understand, like, maybe she was, you know, I'm joking. Maybe she was just upset, maybe she was just over her head, and it's so important to just pause before reacting, because sometimes people don't understand what they're doing. I keep saying this, guys, we're in this planet for the first time. Everyone is here for the first time. No one has a manual. You don't come out of your mom's womb and then immediately receive a manual on how to survive on earth. You maybe study it in university or something, with You can probably study it in university, maybe they offer some courses like that, but no one actually knows what they're doing. So it's so important to just pause before reacting, because it just comes down to the fact of you need to be vulnerable, you need to be understanding, you need to be considerate. You know, it also goes back to that saying where it says think before you speak. It's so important to just actually recall, rethink, rewind, you know, all those things before you say something, because it's literally not what you say, it's how you say it. I can't project that enough. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, the tone, the body language. If you're pointing a finger and you're like, I don't like, whatever you do, don't be aggressive with it. You know, it's just so important to just understand where your friend is coming from. And as I said, if you've been with a friend for 10 years, you know them by now, you know their styles, you know their patterns. And if you've been friends for 10 years, it's most likely because you like them in positive, hopefully in the positive cases, you like them, you enjoy their space. So you try at this point not to do anything to hurt them, you know. And that means you need to sometimes pause, you need to take a break. Guys, taking breaks in friendships is so underrated, because I feel like people are so forced by society to, you know, go out every weekend or, you know, have double dates. That's all cute and well, but if you feel like you need a break from someone, if you feel like you need a break from a friend, take it. And like, I don't know how to express this enough. Like, if you feel like you need a break from a friend, like literally go on a break, go on a holiday, leave the country. Matter of fact, just like leave the country, get yourself a passport, go to the airport, like leave. You don't need to be in a space where you feel where you feel like you're suffocating, where you feel like you're actually losing your own voice. I'm such an advocate for not losing yourself. It's so important to just be able to find yourself, even in the moments where you feel like you might even lose this person, but it's all about you. You need to be selfish. I don't know how to express this enough. You need to be so selfish in a friendship to the point that you're actually putting yourself on the line. You may say something and they may not like it, but you need to say what you need to say. You need to stand on business. Justin Bieber said, standing on business. Guys, you need to stand on business. You can't, because you've been friends with someone for so long, now you must hold back what you need to say. No, say what you need to say. Project your feelings. Tell them how they should treat you. Remind them how they should treat you. And I feel like I'm saying this, and I know I haven't taken my own advice. I feel like I'm finally like saying it and actually taking my own advice as I speak. And I hope someone out there actually can be able to also take in my words and be able to be motivated, whether you're in high school, university, or even working. Just take it in and realize that it needs to be about you. Yes, you can celebrate your friend when she or he succeeds. It's all about balancing. You need to actually not balance, no, scratch that. It's not balance, it's all about you. But I just feel like you do need to be also just as considerate. I'm not saying be selfish, I'm just saying be considerate. You know, this person is special to you, be considerate. It just comes down to the fact that you need, when I mean put yourself first, and what I mean when I say like put yourself first and it's you, like what I mean by that is when it comes down to let go. In a friendship, it needs to be balanced. You need to consider the other person, you need to, you know, save money so that you can celebrate their birthday. It kind of needs to be like, you know, a balance, but it needs to be all about you, especially when you're trying to let go. And I did speak about letting go in the previous video, but it's just about making sure that you're allowing yourself space to actually think about what someone has done, instead of just, oh well, I'm gonna just, you know, force myself to be in the situation even if I don't want to be in the situation. You need to allow yourself to think. As I said, leave the country if you have to. Don't be stuck in a friendship where you feel like you're so I don't know how to say this, but like you're just so embarrassed and you're so ashamed, you know, that you can't even express how you feel as their friend, you know. So as I say, be considerate and love your friends. The video kind of cut off. I'm not sure why the video cut off, but I just want to close off the topic about pausing before you react. So yeah, guys, leave the country, take some time off, have your own space, and then come back a more mature, communicative friend, because I know that's what your friend needs right now. Your friend doesn't need someone to overreact or to punch and to have this abusive friendship. You need to take time to think about what they've said, think about what they've done. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you should like be selfish at all times, and you have to consider your friend, and it has to be equal at some point, because you're gonna have to take time out of your day to spend time with them, because maybe they miss you, maybe you miss them. So it does have to be a balance. The only time where I feel like in a friendship you have to highlight yourself is when you're feeling disrespected. Most of the time it can be balanced. A friendship can and has to be balanced, because you need to consider them, you need to take time out of your day, all of those things. But the moment where you feel disrespected, the moment where you feel you don't belong, the moment where you feel suffocating, and the moment you feel like you're so irritated by them that you just want to peel out of your skin, that is when you just need to focus on yourself, not even consider them. The whole time you've been considering them, taking time out of your day, being there for them, hanging out with them, the friendship is all good and well. That was a balance. Now it's coming to me, myself, and I, because now I'm disrespected, now I'm treated badly, now you don't like me, you know, in a friendship context. So that's when you need to realize that, okay, no, this is getting out of hand, you know. And I'm not saying you need to reach your boiling point to choose yourself, no, but I'm just saying that if you're always choosing yourself, and if you're always boxed up in your own mind and not being considered, you're not most probably not going to have, or most probably not going to be open in your friendship. So you do need to be open. It just needs to come down to the fact that when you need to address something, when you need to be serious with your friend, then you go back to yourself. Remember, guys, we never lose ourselves completely. So you go back to yourself and you're like, okay, no, wait, she was out of line, he was out of line, let me address that. You know, you never lose yourself, you just drift apart to give space and to accommodate someone else. Remember, the owner of a hotel, think about Radisson or Protea, or whatever hotel you guys are thinking about right now. Those hotel rooms will always accommodate people. Those hotels are full of rooms, but those people will leave and other people will come. So that's how it's like in a friendship. You're the hotel owner, you're the person who owns the hotel. There are different rooms, people come in, you know, you accommodate different people, but then the vacation is over, they've stayed in the hotel for a long time, now they're leaving. Now the friend is leaving and you accommodate other people. You never lose yourself. Radisson Blu has never closed down because they stopped getting people in 1 month. They still continued running the show, and then December came and more people came at Radisson, because obviously it's a hotel, people are traveling, people want a place to sleep. That's how it's like in a friendship. You don't lose yourself. You don't close down a whole Radisson hotel just because no one is coming to you. You still maintain and you still keep yourself grounded. You only accommodate people when they're coming in, when they're checking in, and then you know, spend money, you take time out of your day, as I've said. So just think about that, like hotel kind of mentality. You still have many rooms to accommodate. People come in, you accommodate them, you spend money, you like, you know, buy food, take time out of your day, and then those friends, they leave your life, others come back in. You know, it's just a hotel type of example that I was trying to create there. Hope that did make sense. I do talk fast, my apologies. But yeah, I think I have one last topic to discuss with you guys. But yeah, just prioritize yourself, don't lose yourself, but don't forget that you're not on this earth alone, and you may need to stretch, you know, you may need to expand, you may need to open your eyes, be open-minded, open your horizon. And if you feel like you do need to take time to pause, there's nothing wrong with that. True friends will understand whatever path you're going on, and true friends will stick by you no matter what. Okay, so I did check. I do have one last topic, and if you're not necessarily in your Christian journey, or you're not necessarily, I don't want to offend anyone, I'm just trying to say that, like, I'm about in this next topic, I'll be talking about like God and Christianity. So if you're not really into that, you may need to fast forward. But if you are on your Christian journey, or you are trying to find God, or if you have been saved, if you are on your Christian journey and you have found God, this topic is for you. So this topic is about, actually it's the last topic, so yeah, those that are probably not in their like Christian journey, maybe this is where I can end off for you guys. But I'm not trying to like separate people. I'm just trying to say that, like, I don't want to force people into Christianity, and I don't want to like just put this in the video without mentioning it, that I will be speaking about God, and I don't want to offend anyone who's not necessarily a believer. But if you are, and if you're on your journey, please listen to the next topic. And the next topic is pray for one another. Pray for each other, guys. I feel like it's so important in friendship to just pray for each other. I feel like it's so important to just, especially if you're in a Christian group, or your friends are Christian, and or even if maybe you don't have Christian friends and you're looking for Christian friends, I can be one. I can be a Christian friend. I can be a Christian friend. But yeah, if you're looking for anyone, or if you're on your journey, or if you are just maybe alone, and you, as I said, looking for friends and just wanting to be in that space, or if your friend isn't perhaps not Christian, but they're maybe keen on learning, I feel like it's so important in friendship is just to invite God into that space. Not even in friendship, in all aspects of your life, it's so important to just invite God in that space, because you don't know what he can do to you. Maybe you have an idea, but he will literally do more than you think, ask, or imagine. It's so great, and it's so wonderful what God can do in our lives. And I feel like it's so important to just stay grounded in God and in Jesus, because that can help your friendship. If you learn about God, and if you're reading the Bible, you'll also approach your friend in the same way. And I don't know if you guys have watched The Chosen. I'm currently on season 5 right now, but throughout the whole series of The Chosen is basically a documentary, or a series, if I can put it like that, where it's just showing how from the time that Jesus met his disciples to when he died on the cross for us, it's just basically showing us how God treated his disciples with such honor and humility. So it's so important to read the Bible and look at it into your own, and look at it in your own viewpoint, and personalize it almost to just fit into what you're going through at that specific moment. And I just feel like it's so important to add Jesus and add God into your lives, especially in this video of how to navigate friendship struggles. It's so important just to pray with each other, even if you're in arguments. Just be like, hey, I know you probably don't want to speak to me. Just have a small conversation, or start something, and be like, hey, listen, I know you probably don't want to speak to me right now, but I really just want to pray with you. Having that strong foundation, firm foundation, can help your friendship so much in ways that you may not have even thought about. So it's just so important to stay grounded in Jesus and know that he loves you. If God is for you, who can be against you? And I feel like that's just so important. So yeah, the last topic that I want to discuss with you guys is just praying with each other, holding someone's hand and being like, listen, I know you want to punch me right now, I know I haven't been a good friend, let's just pray. Let's pray about it. And even if maybe your friend is perhaps not open to praying with you, maybe they're still on their spiritual journey, but it's just so important for you to just be like praying for them. Guys, praying for other people is so underrated, and it may even be creepy, like, why am I praying for someone else? But if you want someone to change, if you want someone to be more open-minded, and if it's in God's plan, he will literally make it happen. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but in the right time, God will make it happen. So if your friend is not perhaps open to praying with you, don't be offended. Just be okay. Just be accepting and considerate. Remember what I said, be considerate at all times. always be considerate and just be like, okay, you don't want to pray with me, it's fine, I understand. And then you go home, close the door, and pray for your friend. You don't have to tell them that, oh, I prayed for you yesterday. No, it's such a sacred, gentle connection that we have with God, and I just feel like it's so important that you pray for your friend, you pray with each other, attend church, you know. My story is not playing games, but just to conclude, yeah, pray with your friend and pray for your friend. So yeah guys, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and you have more videos coming up, and I love you guys so much, and bye.